Welcome to Two Caps and a Coffee, a podcast where two friends are chatting about the topics that matter most to us over a cup of coffee, bringing you into the conversation. I'm your host, Caden.
And I'm Renee.
And today we're going to talk about manifestation and the law of attraction. So Renee, what is manifestation?
So I think that with this topic, it's something that we hear a lot in social media, like on TikTok, like I'm manifesting for things to happen and you got to manifest the life of your dreams and things like that. And it's almost like a buzzword. And I think that for a lot of people, it doesn't actually, fully address what they're talking about when they're actually talking about manifestation. So you might have some naysayers saying things like, oh, manifesting doesn't work, or the law of attraction's like BS, because they only see like this like cute 60-second trying to be as engaging as possible version on TikTok or whatever. And like they miss like I don't know, just like the incredibleness of manifestation and the law of attraction. So just talking about it very objectively, if you're like very new to this topic, the definition of manifestation is an action, event, or object that clearly shows or embodies something, especially like a theory or an abstract idea. We're not talking about that manifestation. We're talking about,
Okay.
the art of allowing something to go from vibration to a thought to an emotion to an action into the physical world. And it's like a more of a spiritual concept. And it's the same with law of attraction. It's basically we are what we attract, and the emotions, feelings, thoughts we have about a specific topic will continue to attract things that are vibrationally a match to the way that we're feeling and either change or perpetuate our reality. So that is very high level manifestation and the law of attraction. But just to start off, Kaden, why don't you talk a little bit about your experiences with like manifestation and law of attraction? We just kind of go from there.
Yeah, so I would definitely say that, first and foremost, I definitely see those things on TikTok or whatever of like manifesting, I'm working through it to get to it, stupid stuff like that. Like, I definitely do see those things on my TikTok for sure. But like my experiences, I I I really like manifestation, the idea of manifestation, because it's focusing on like what you can control, and it's about like your experience, not necessarily about like the outside world. So it really brings that like focus of control into what you can control. Obviously, I'm a control freak, right? So like I like the idea that this is something that it's all about me, and it's like a self journey inside of myself and not having to do with anyone else. So like for example, whenever I set an intention to do something or to get something that I want, right? It's about me focusing in on myself. And then, like, that, the idea of setting an intention for me is super important because that's how I can clearly communicate, like, what I want in the world or the universe, whatever you want to say. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that, like, if I face a conflict, if I face an obstacle, what that really is telling me is that I'm attracting something that I didn't know I thought like I was attracting, right? So if I was like experiencing a lot of negativity all at once, that can happen. But that it's also telling me that I have something in myself that I've not worked through yet. And that's really what I like about it is that if you focus on manifesting, it brings up the things that matter most to you or that you're like working in your sphere right now. And that's how I see it. What about you? What's your experiences with manifesting?
I think that, it's been such a long journey with manifestation. I started off with like books like, The Power of Now and Ask and It's Given and things like that. And one of the things that for example, if you're listening to this for the first time and you don't resonate with manifestation, it's a lot of times because you feel like I can't be the one who's responsible for like my life being crappy. Like, no, it's a circumstance, it's everyone else outside of me, or, I was born into this bad situation and things like that. And that was something that was hard for me in the beginning, and something I still struggle with right now. It's like wow, how can I shift the way that I'm thinking about things in order to change the way, life is responding to me? And when I think about manifestation and my challenges and struggles with it. Oftentimes I have very clear examples of like I wanted something and it was like one of the only things that I wanted and I set my intention and focused in on that and it happened for me. So for me, as opposed to it being like kind of like what you were saying, Kaden, like it's a very self-driven journey. It's been a really great way for me to uncover some underlying thoughts that I have that are maybe not so positive that keep perpetuating things I don't want to see in my life. But then also a process of letting go because it can be very easy to like, I want this thing, so I'm going to hold on to it super tightly and not let it go enough to actually, manifest into our lives physically. So, yeah, that's how I would think of it and talk about my journey a little bit. But what do you
Like what you were
think?
just saying, like
Yeah.
that's super hard, the act of like letting it go after you focus in on it and wanting it. Because like if you're doing the process right, you're really honed in on like, oh, I want this, I want this so much for myself. But that act of letting go is super hard. How do you like get over that? Of like, okay, I want it. I set that intention that I want this, and now I gotta let it go.
It for some things it's very easy to do that. For some things it's really easy to do that. Like for example, I might want a new computer. I definitely do want a new computer. So
I
I might
feel
think
ya.
about it. Yeah, like I want something new. So I might think about it, be like, okay, like this is something I definitely want, and start to picture just imagine how I would feel if like, I went downstairs or I was coming home with like a really nice bag and has my new laptop in it and I get to like do the little unboxing and like the little cling wrap and everything like that. And it's so nice when you get into the feeling place of like how it's gonna feel when you have the thing that you want. But the thing that I found is like it's easy when you don't feel like it matters, when that condition happening isn't reliant on or you're not reliant on that condition happening in order to be
Mm.
happy. So for example, I have a laptop right now, like clearly, right? There's no way we could be doing this if it was like working on like a little stone and like, a little knife to carve shit into a block or whatever. Um, I have something now. I would like that new thing. So, my thing works just fine. Like I want something better. So I can detach from it easier. But when it's a topic that I really, really, really care about and I notice that I don't have it in my life experience, it's a lot more difficult than say, like, I just want something better. I want something that quote unquote doesn't exist for me right now. But in terms of letting go, what I found and what I've been hearing through, my journey with manifestation is oftentimes when we focus on the lack of something, we're just attracting more of the lack of something. So when you start feeling that, man, I really wish this would happen, it's so hard to like not focus on it not happening. That's like a really clear sign, like you need to go take a nap, take a walk.
Yeah.
You need to stop that train of thought from taking root because like if you keep focusing and noticing that it's not there, you're just going to feel worse about it not being there. And that vibration, because in your head, you already know if I got this thing, oh, I would feel so happy. I would do this. I'd be jumping up and down, la la la. And if you're purposely putting out emotions that don't feel like happy, jumping up and down, la la la, it's not going to be a vibrational match. And what I found in manifestation and law of attraction is that it doesn't matter what the thing that you want to manifest is. All that matters is what you feel about that thing or how you think you're going to feel when that thing happens. And then focusing on that emotion, which like I think is really powerful. For example, like Kaden, like maybe it could be a throwaway example. What's something that you have, you want to manifest that matters a lot to you? This is an example.
As an example that matters a lot to me,
Yeah.
I want to get a like screen capture card,
Ooh.
because I want to like start streaming and everything, like obviously with a different setup than this, but like I do want to like start streaming and I want to like be able to play games and capture the games I'm playing on my Nintendo Switch Lite.
And how would you feel if you had that screen or stream capture card?
I think it would like to me, I would feel like super validated, like official, in terms of like, okay, I have like all the tools that I need in order to really execute on this thing, this like dream that I have right now. And it's like, I would feel happy. I would feel excited. I would like feel like a little kid, in a candy store, just like, ooh, all that stuff. Yeah, like that sense of bubbliness is like what I experience whenever I'm even like talking about it now. I'm excited even just talking about it.
Okay, one, I want to say like the energy you put out, you get that back because like the energy you're putting out, I'm feeling it, and I don't even like. This is not even something I want, but I'm like happy for you. I'm just like, oh my god, it's gonna be so exciting when you get it, and like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that is how energy magnifies and just like intensifies. Like it's literally what you put out, you get back. And on top of that too, for example, I asked you for something random because like I've never even heard of the thing that you're talking about before. It's not in my vortex. So, and we'll get into that in a whole nother episode. This is not about that right now.
Yeah.
But it's not something that like I want. So when I heard you talking about it, and saying all the things, oh, I really want this because it's going to enable my career. I'm going to feel ready. I'm going to feel like I'm there to show up and play the game and do the best that I can. Never thought about getting that thing. So I don't have any like strong emotions towards it. So if it came in the mail for me tomorrow, I'd be like, oh, like I didn't ask
Yeah.
for that.
Oh
So,
wow. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is I don't know how I got this, but it is what it is. And the important thing in that example is that it doesn't matter how anyone else feels about what you're trying to manifest. All that matters is how you feel about what you're trying to manifest. Because like Kaden was talking about what he wanted. I was like, oh girl, like, let's get it. Even though I don't even know what he's talking about.
Now
Like
you're
I
gonna look it up
probably
though. I
don't
know
know.
you're gonna look it up. I know you're gonna look it
I'm
up.
gonna look it up after this and be like, oh, I probably need that too. But like the way he felt about it, I was able to feel the same way, even though like I don't want the thing that he wants. And that emotion is the thing that's universal. So something I always hear a lot too that like grinds my gears is like, oh, if you really believe in manifestation, if you really believe in the law of attraction, then why don't you live in a 70-bedroom home? Why don't you drive about 40 million cars? Why aren't you richer than like Jeff Bezos or whatever I've heard his last name pronounced in so many different ways. Girl, it's
The
the
rich
Amazon
1%, those
man.
people.
We're
Yeah.
gonna call him Mr. Amazon man. Why
Mr.
aren't you richer than
Amazon
him?
man.
You know what I mean? And it's like what someone manifests doesn't necessarily, not everybody wants that thing. And I think that's so hard for people to grasp in the beginning. It's like, why wouldn't you manifest my definition of the most abundant lifestyle possible? Like, imagine your life. If you're coming from a situation where you've never had, a roof over your head, is the first thing that you want to manifest probably like a 100-bedroom, castle? No, it'd probably be like, can I just get a modest 1-bedroom apartment? Then I'm gonna feel so safe. I'm gonna feel so secure. I'm gonna feel so happy. And I just think that when we have that mind, like mentality of like, well, why don't you, have this? Like, there's no way this works. Like, I don't see your millions and cajillions of dollars. Not everybody feels about the same way about everything, and not everybody is trying to manifest a life that feels that way. It's more about how you feel about the individual thing, not what everybody thinks about what you're trying to manifest.
And like, for example, those people do exist. Oprah Winfrey is one of those people.
Queen Oprah, Queen Oprah, sleep on
Oprah
her.
Winfrey is
I got her book right
in
here.
like she is a manifester. She manifested the life that she has. Yeah, like
Literally.
it does not mean that it doesn't cause like struggle. It does not mean that it's not going to be hard or that she doesn't face ups and downs or that she doesn't face like negative emotions day in, day out. You know, it means that like over her journey, she's gotten better and better and better at attracting the things that she wants. And it's like it's just a journey, right? And that's her journey. That's not everyone's journey. And that's
Hmm.
okay. But it's about you. What do you want that journey to be like for you? Because you can choose that.
I just want to like focusing on Oprah for a split second. Also,
We
shout
love
out
her.
to this Aquarian queen, which is just like I always thought she was a Capricorn. It's like, okay, you know what? We gonna let that rock. But Oprah is such an incredible ambassador of creating the life of your dreams. Like the book of hers that I had on my desk right here is called The Path Made Clear: Discovering Your Life's Direction and Purpose. And like, I just I just love Oprah for this book because she has so many types of people in here sharing about how they found out, what they wanted to do, how did they find out who they were and their unique contribution to the world. For example, Brene Brown, Lin Manuel Miranda, Mr. Hamilton, Jay Z. She got India Ari in this book also talking about her life experiences. Crazy, first and foremost.
And it's not like she's like up here to the world defending manifestation, right? Like that's not her role. It's no one's role to like defend this practice, right? Because it's like if you don't believe in it, then you're not ever going to get it. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Because
And
it's
like,
just that negative energy. Like she doesn't want to even interact with that negativity, I'm assuming, of like having
yeah.
to defend that like law of attraction and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And the thing I like about her the most is like she doesn't try to defend the validity of these practices. Like for example, though I love Oprah, I saw like very old Oprah. So like, Oprah from the 90s that was very like sensationalized and like just telling us about why everyone in your family hates you. You
Yeah.
know? Like that's the Oprah that I grew up watching. But the Oprah that I'm talking about now that I resonate a lot with is like if you've ever seen like Super Soul Sundays, it's like this little series that she has, and you can find it on YouTube, where she brings in these people who are really prolific in like the spiritual world and just has conversations with them about manifesting, about, living the life of your dreams. And, you know, it's such a cool way for her to use her platform to have other people learn about different modalities of like self-expression, self-actualization. And I was just like, it is a risk. It's such a risk for her to be such a public figure and like talk about manifestation, talking about law of attraction and things like that. But she said, girl, I've made my millions. And guess what? Now I'm going to put y'all on to
Yeah.
how I maintain my millions and I don't go crazy and off the deep end like some of these other people I like here on the streets. And so that was just my short love letter to Oprah. I adore that woman. I would love to spend an hour with her one day, just picking her brain about like her life. And I love her. Sorry, this Oprah appreciation moment.
No, it's like so while you were talking about that, because I've never seen those Sunday episodes, so I have to check that on YouTube. But like I was also thinking,
Yeah.
so I grew up, in a religious household. Um, and for me and my life and everything, my even my mom believes in like manifestation. It doesn't conflict against her religion. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, is that like she is non-denominational, and like what that means for her is that like she doesn't fall into one type of Christianity. She like really kind of sees it as a broad overview, but she does have standard like beliefs out of Christianity. But like what her and I grew up, what she raised me in was essentially like don't speak negativity into existence. Like, if you say like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a bad day today," yeah, you are. You are going to have
Mhm.
a bad day today because you're literally speaking it into existence, or the idea of like letting go. Say for example, you're like upset about whatever. I could throw a temper tantrum as a child, and I have to give that to God and let it go. And that's like the same type of concept of like really hung up on something, you have to let it go. Regardless if it's a negative or positive emotion, if you really want it that bad, you send in that prayer and then you have to put it in the hands of God. You know what I mean? That's how
Mhm.
I was raised. And it's the same type of concept. It's just packaged a different way. It's the same concept. You know what I mean? And I really like that this idea of manifesting is for everyone. You don't have to like see it as like something against your religion. This is something that can be a different version of your religion or a way to help you be religious if you are, or even just spiritual, like you can take this however you want to and use it however you want to. And I like that a lot about it too.
Yeah, like so for my family, one of the things I think we grew up with all these like old adages and we just never really understood what they were really getting at until many years later. So my aunt was a Jehovah's Witness, very, very, very devout. And whenever I'd be mad about something, the first thing that she would do is she would sit me down and be like, Nay, don't let other people control your remote control. Like your life, your emotional state is 100% in your hands. And if you let other people determine how you feel, you've lost all your power. And that 1,000,000% is in alignment with like law of attraction and like this like concept of manifestation. The way we feel will dictate our life experience. And she's basically saying like don't give your ability to create the life of your dreams by giving other people your, emotional stability, letting other people decide how you feel about things. And that's also a really important, factor of the law of attraction that we haven't touched on yet is the fact that like a lot of times we could be stuck in this like same pattern over and over and over again because all we keep doing is observing our current reality and saying, well, it's not here yet. It doesn't exist yet. So if it's not here yet and doesn't exist yet, then it can never happen for me. And what we're doing is we're letting the current conditions dictate the future. Like imagine if every single little thing that you wanted to do in the future, you based on, well, can I do it right now? Oh, I can't, then I don't want to do it. Like no one would get a college degree.
Yeah.
No one would graduate. No one would have kids. No one would like there's so many things that we don't yet know how to do or we don't have the skills yet to maybe write like a dissertation or whatever. But it doesn't mean that you can't learn. Like using where you are right now to dictate where you could possibly be in the future. For some, depending on what you're trying to manifest, can be very like hopeful and enlightening. But for others, and a lot of people, it could be a detriment to getting the life that you actually want to live. So, in that, vein, kind of touch a little bit on like different ways that you could allow things to come into your existence. What are your favorite methods to manifest things? Like, what do you like to do, Kanan?
Well, I will clearly say that, like, at the start of 2021, I created literally like a vision board of
Mm.
what I wanted this year to be like. And I had to move, so I could not keep up with it this last month. Essentially, I had 9 goals on it that I really wanted to like bring into fruition. One, I can tell you definitely like the top three was like make more money. It was live a healthier life and to be in a like a better lifestyle that's more aligned to what I want in my future. And I, quite frankly, I'm a bougie bitch, so I really want to live like a bougie bitch lifestyle. Not gonna lie.
Period.
So like, that lifestyle, quote unquote, is me trying to be more of a bougie bitch. And so like what's happened for me this year so far is that even though like I didn't meet a weight goal or you know what I mean, like any of that, I did become more aware and more understanding about my own physical health. And I didn't know that that's what I was attracting. It was a small portion of it, but it is still a stepping stone. So I did take a step into that right direction with that goal because I kept that vision board that I set that intention with. The second one was make more money. I got my first bonus this year, which is great,
Woo!
you know, and I'm making more money. And like more money is already like on its way to me because I've been, financially secured about it already. So like I am making more money and I'm taking actions to make more money because of that. And the last one about like living a bougier bitch lifestyle. I moved. I moved out of the apartment that I was like felt suffocated in, and I moved to a space that I'm like really enjoying the creative possibilities of like working with. And when I moved here initially, I was like, when I first looked it out, I was like, you know what, it'll be fine. it's something better than what I have right now. It's not perfect, but it's okay. It's a better step into the right direction. But I'm here now, and I've been here for about 2 weeks. And I'm really falling in love with this like idea of this space, and it's turning out to be better than what I thought it was going to be. And I absolutely love that. And then, what about you, Renee? What are some of your like favorite manifestation methods?
Well, for me, um, I have a couple. So I actually I love vision boarding as well. What I've found this year is like I have a funny story about it, so I'll get into that too. So I love vision boarding. I love visualization, which is basically just like sitting there and picturing the life or the experience that I want to have. I also really used to love listening to subliminals. So not like turn your eyes green after three listens, subliminals. That's some people's like piece of cake. They love that. It's not what I've been trying to manifest, so not those kind, but more like live the life of your dreams and things like that. And also softening resistance purposefully through consistent thought, which is a concept from this spiritual leader named Abraham Hicks, which is basically like think of the thing that you want and just allow all the emotions that you have within you to kind of bubble up to the surface and start to be aware of the emotions that you have that may get in the way of the things that you want to attract. So say for example, someone wants to manifest $1 million and the first thought they have is, I'm never going to be able to have $1 million. Well, okay, maybe work on that. Maybe work on why that's a belief that you have because y'all, some of these beliefs that we have are literally the reason why we'll never be able to do it. It's like that, I think it's Henry Ford quote. It basically sums up it's like the man who thinks he can and the man who thinks that he can't are both right. And it really is like whether you believe you can do something or not, you're totally right. But anyway,
Yeah,
said
that's even been
visual.
proven by like psychologists too. Like there's
Exactly.
actual studies that like if you believe you can't do something or you can't do it as well as somebody else, when
Mm-hmm.
compared to someone who's like encouraged and taught that they can. I mean, there's multiple studies about this, not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
related to manifestation, but just that mindset of like people who think that they'll never achieve $1 million will not
Yep.
achieve $1 million because
Period.
they don't think they can. All right, going on. I was just, I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, gotta talk about that.
Yeah, come validate me with science, honey. I love that. But like on the note of this topic, basically like with visualization and vision boarding, I had a vision board this year and I put a couple things on it. I was like, oh, I want to have like a candle business, and put a picture of this woman who had like this kind of like regal stateliness to her, and I was like, I want to be more of like that. I want to show up as the best version of myself and be very like put together and whatever. I had this vision board and it was like at the foot of my bed. I was able to see it every single day. It was kind of in the background of some of the work calls that I was doing, so other people could see it too, but I didn't tell them what it was because mind your business. Um,
Very Scorpio rising in
I was like,
action.
literally mind your business. um, but like I had it in there, like some people know about it, but not everybody, in the background. And there's some things on there that still have not manifested in my life experience so far. And I also did some visualization. So, for example, I live in Portland, Oregon, and at the time I was living in New York City. And I knew I was like, okay, I kept going back and forth. Like, do I go to Portland? Do I go to Boston? Do I go to Chicago? Like, I was weighing all these places that I could possibly move to after, like, my last job was ending. And I was like, I can't decide on any one of these. So I'm going to make a decision now, and I'm going to put that decision all over my apartment, all over my room. And I went and put Portland, 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 Portland everywhere. So whenever I was having a thought and I just saw that Portland thing, it's kind of like it focused my energy again. It focused like my mind again. And well, here I am. I'm living in Portland, Oregon. I went cross country in a car with my family members and everything that I owned, and I just fucking did it. And no one that I know, like family members, live here on the West Coast. So I did something completely out of my scope of possibilities because I focused on it. And you could say that's a version of vision boarding because like I knew what I wanted and I put it everywhere and I put it in words and it wasn't a, picturesque, Portland skyline picture or whatever. But that worked for me better than having I think it was like 7 or 8 different pictures that I had up on my wall, just having that one thing. So I kind of like to manifest one big thing at a time and then have like the energy of like the smaller things in the background to distract me when I get too anal about like that one big thing. So yeah.
Like in even that like method that you did, here's another like example that we see in like movies and everything, right? People
Hmm.
who are trying to make a big physical change, trying to get really buff or whatever, they hang up like photos of like Arnold Schwarzenegger like right there and everything, like just to really like show off his body. And it's like you do that too to like remind yourself, oh, I need to go to the gym. Oh, I need for sure I'm pushing myself as hard enough, or like whatever bodybuilder person, um, stuff like that. So it's really the same type of concept. It's a healthy reminder of like you make for sure that you're taking steps and actions that are in line to what your ultimate goal was. And that's another thing that like I really love about like the law of attraction is that it's goal setting. You know what I mean? And as a Capricorn, I love achieving goals. I like when it comes to like talking about planning, goal setting, taking action steps, absolutely love those types of conversations because they just really excite me like internally. And it's even better whenever you start seeing things play out because you get more excited about that, um, completely. So I do have another question I want to ask you too, Renee.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've manifested that you're really proud of, or thing, whatever it is?
Hmm. Um, so I kind of talked about a little bit like my move here to Portland. Um, for context, like you might be like, oh yeah, well anyone can move anywhere. Bro, I've wanted to move here for 9 years, literally 9 years. And it finally happened because like this was the year. I think like interestingly enough, COVID has been a catalyst for changing your life for a lot of people in the sense that, everything was uprooted. Some people lost, family members, loved ones, people that they didn't even care about. But you're hearing about people losing their lives left and right, losing their jobs, losing their sense of like self left and right because they've been so uprooted. And in my head, I was like, why stick to convention? Why stick to doing things that don't make me happy and not finally just go after the things that I want to do? So that's why I say, like, in a way, COVID was like a catalyst for that, even though I've been wanting to go and move to the city for so many years. So I decided, like, I was leaving my last organization I'd been with like for 5.5 years. And I don't want to just keep doing the same old thing. Like I could have decided, oh, I'm gonna go, do something simple. I'm gonna get like a sales job or whatever. And that would have been very much okay. It was an alignment to what I was doing, so a little bit. Um, but I decided I'm gonna go after the things that I've been wanting for so long. So I had Portland all over my room. I also manifested some of like, my previous jobs and um, doing that, I have like one of my experiences, I manifested a role that I had 2 years ago. And I loved that. That was one of the most fun things ever. I was listening to subliminals all the time. I like did that basically I made like a mock-up of what that announcement would look like or if I got the position and sort of to think about my life there and everything and why I really wanted it. And like when it finally happened, I was like, ugh. It wasn't even like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It was like a finally, like I knew that this was coming. So I've manifested some moves, I've manifested some positions and some relationships as well in the past. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, what about you?
I would say the one like big thing that I manifested. It's funny because like it is, also related to the pandemic too, right? But it actually started before that. So we've already talked about in our first episode kind of like how we were working together in Thailand. And in Thailand, we, because we're both basic bitches, we got these dolls. these stuffed animal dolls. And mine looks like a wolf, and it's a like really cute sleepy time wolf that I call Robin Tanner.
Love him.
And I love Robin Tanner. But like it was the cutesy thing to do because he's super cute, right? And adorable. He's got these nice little sleepy eyes and stuff like that. But he's like a gray coat and he has like a white belly, like white paws, and he just is like there sleeping constantly. But like I treated him like he was my own child, just carrying him around with me everywhere I went and everything. And like being super protective of him, just showing like this is how I display my love towards him and everything like that. And I did that for a good like 6 months, I would say. And then like of course the pandemic hit in 2020. And then at the very end of 2021, I got a dog that I manifested because like I was feeling alone. I really wanted to like feel something that I could really love on that wasn't a human being because, COVID. But like at the same time, I could like really love that. And I'm living by myself. I work from home. So I'm just like at home all day long. And I want, something to interact with that I can love, take care of, and support that wasn't like a plant because I kill plants. And like I'm also allergic to dogs, so I can't really have like animals. They have to be hypoallergenic and everything. And I didn't want to like go to a breeder because I didn't have money at the time to like do that and go that whole route. So it was really dependent upon me finding a dog that was hypoallergenic, which are super, they're not super rare, but they're rare enough. And then finding a dog that I could like rescue, that would be more affordable for me to take care of and, didn't like bite my head off because it's a rescue dog and everything. And then in December 2020, I got my dog. And
Mm.
like her name was Lucinda. The funny thing of like why I'm saying that I attracted her without really knowing at the beginning is because she is also gray coated, has a white belly, just like my doll did. So it was like that connection of like me wanting to show love and support to something that was inanimate was a form of like I think of visualization of like what I wanted in my future that I didn't know that I wanted at that time, but I did later on. And so I love her. She cuddles with me every single night in our bed, and like during the daytime and everything, I give her nice, good pets. Um, it's what I wanted, and I'm very happy that I was able to like bring her into my life and that we met each other because she is a rescue.
Oh.
And I saved her from having to go to an animal shelter and facing all that stuff, and I think she's living her best life. So yeah.
Love to hear it. I, what I heard in your story was kind of like softening that resistance that you might have had towards having a dog because you said like I couldn't have a pet, I'm allergic. So it's like now you're like you have like this like thing that you're like I can get used to having something around. I can get used to like, petting like an animal and things like that. And it's just like that softening of that resistance towards like it's never gonna work out with me with Robin Tanner allowed Lucinda to actually come into your life because imagine if you'd never had like those months of like comfort from Robin Tanner. You probably would have been like, I want a dog, but like, oh, here are all the reasons why it wouldn't have worked. So I
Yeah.
love
Exactly.
that. Like
Yeah.
that makes me feel really good. Something that I want to just say about manifestation that I think is really important is that I see it as like a using manifestation and law of attraction as just modalities to getting the life that you want to live. Like for some people, like you might think like, isn't this just goal setting? Isn't this just like, and yeah, it is a form of goal setting, but at the same time, it's also the acknowledgement that your goals are possible and you could be a good fit for your goals and you could be not a good fit for your goals based on the energy that you're putting out. You might think, oh, if I just work hard and I just keep, fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting for the things you want, you'll get them. Hey, that works for some people, but I choose not to fight for the things that I want. And it's about removing this concept of like, I deserve it or I've earned it. It's like, if you keep assigning value to yourself and the things that you want, and like, am I worthy of living a life that makes me happy? what? When you ask that
Yeah.
question, no, you're not. So it's like kind of removing just like these concepts of like, you're not worthy or you're not good enough to be happy, and just deciding that being happy is something that you want to do. And often I found that genuine happiness does not hurt other people. Because some people might be like, oh, well, what if I'm happy being a serial killer? Okay, Queen, go off and do that, I guess. Like, okay, you're so
Yeah.
cool. Then no, like I found like when you're genuinely happy and you are creating things from a happy space, like oftentimes the things that you create happen to make other people happy as well. It's not going to be like, oh, if I'm truly happy, then I'll be a serial killer. Like we need to release the belief that when we're happy, we're actually a worse version of ourselves. So, just a disclaimer. I think that's
But then
important to
like
know.
also I think that like, on that note that like manifestation is also a form of self-love. You know what I mean? In the sense of like what you're putting out in the world is like that belief that you are going to be able to get what you want. You know what I mean? Instead of like having that inner saboteur or having that battle of that inner saboteur of like saying, no, you can't have this, you don't deserve this, yada, yada, yada. It is like taking that step to be really in tune with yourself and saying, yes, I do believe I deserve, or not even deserve, I do believe that I can achieve this, or I do believe that I could get this thing. No matter how it comes out, I know that if I want it, I will get it. You know what I mean? And some people, they don't live that life. They don't have that idea in their head. Sometimes they think, oh, I want this, but I will never get this. You know what I mean? And it's just,
Yeah.
it's a crazy concept because it's, it's a different actualization. Am I saying that word right? Actualization.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of self love, I think. And I love
Yeah.
that too.
Ariana said, I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it. Period.
Seven rings, you got
Keep
it.
it simple, keep it cute. It doesn't have to be this like super heavy thing of like I need to be deserving of the things that make me happy. Because if you assign value like that to some things, you will subconsciously assign value like that to everything. Remove the concept of like being deserving and just be like, I want to be happy, and I don't have to like prove that I'm good enough to be happy. Everyone deserves to be happy, and everyone can be if like you pay attention to the things that you're putting out, and you like pay attention to the thoughts you have on different topics. So yeah, this is a huge topic though. We cannot do it justice in the time that we have here today, but we definitely wanted to breach the topic a little bit, like just poke it a little bit, and maybe we'll revisit it in the future. But I think we're coming up to our time, Kaden.
No, I think it's that time too. And I want to thank everyone for listening or watching us if you are watching this. But also, the conversation doesn't have to end here. We really do want to hear from you. I want to know your thoughts, feelings, emotions about manifestation. Like, do you feel
Yeah.
like it's silly? Do you feel like it's legit? Do you feel like you're having issues with following this practice of like self-actualization? I would love to hear from you guys. But Renee, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, other than thank you for listening, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're not, go follow us on YouTube. In addition to following us on our other social media sites, we're on everything. You can listen to this damn near everywhere. And
Yeah.
on social media, you can find us at 2caps_coffee. So give us a follow. We'd love to keep talking to you.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, and happy listening.
Ta ta.